hear it?
You can hear the squealing?
You said you can hear it?
No, can you hear us or can you hear the squealing?
I can hear that.
Oh, yeah, you good then.
Okay, anyway, Knicks family, what's popping? We are live, and you caught us testing the microphones and all of that. That's all good. We got to do what we got to do. We're here at Legends, and we're going to do a quick mini season preview and predictions.
Yeah.
Got my man Ron here. We got Steph here and a couple other people that's going to come join us. Ron, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, nothing much. It's just a pleasure to be here as always. Whenever I can chop it up with everybody, see my man Sim, see Steph, and see the gang. It's always a pleasure.
Nice.
You guys know that when I get out, it's rare these days. So just trying to take it easy.
No doubt. Steph, how you doing?
I'm good, Sim. Thank you for having me, Ron. Always a pleasure. I'm super excited about this season, man. I'm super excited. And listen, the preseason was only 4 games. It seemed like it was 20 games. And then since Washington, we got a whole week. Until the first game.
It was a little bit crazy this year for me, the way that they set it up. We played a game, then had like a week off.
Right.
And then, played the remainder of the schedule.
Right.
I mean, I guess I get the week off. I would think maybe you would want to do 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
You get some intel. Now you got a week to work on stuff, and then you got the final 2 games.
Right.
And then they did back-to-backs. What did you think about the back-to-backs in the preseason?
I didn't like
the back-to-backs is weird to me. I know that in their mindset, it's like preparing the teams for what you're going to experience in the regular season, but I don't like it. And in the regular season, they got weird back-to-backs at the same, arena. Like there's like a home and home at Milwaukee. It's not home at Milwaukee, then at the Garden. It's both at Milwaukee. It's really weird.
Maybe they figured they're setting them up for the playoffs, right? Because if you played a team in the playoffs, you would play 2 games. Right. You might play 2 games you would play 2 games at their arena.
Right.
Maybe they're trying to do some things. But when the Knicks play Cleveland, it's a home and away. October 31st, they play Cleveland in Cleveland, and then November 1st, they play Cleveland in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it's different. It's different, but I guess they got to try new things, figure it out, get things going. How did you feel about the preseason, Steph? The Knicks preseason?
You know what? I liked it in the sense that we got a chance to see different players as opposed to Thibodeau going right with the rotation for the season right from the first game. However, when we played Washington, I was like, maybe we should have went with our regular rotation straight from the jump. Like I guess he did it that way because other than DiVincenzo, everybody really played with each other. I guess he was banking on they already had that chemistry. But Washington, we didn't look good at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We look bad in Washington.
But the thing about that is, first off, we already know the perimeter defense is horrible. We have this issue no matter who we play. But the thing about that game is Jordan Poole lit us up. He put up, 41 on us?
41. 41,
and did you see what he put up tonight?
No.
Like 5 or 7?
Did he?
He was 1 for 15 from the field. Like, we just catch the perfect storm all the time. I mean, you know what I mean? It always happens to us.
All the time, right.
We saw what Ricky Rubio did to us. That's the best career game he's ever had in his life.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's one of them things.
It's one of those things. Jordan Poole, coming into the game, he was the one player I was worried about, that could go off. And he's going to have some big games this season. Now, I know this isn't a Wizards cast, but he's gonna have some big games this season, Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
The preseason, I feel like I still feel like there's some questions for me coming from the preseason. I don't know if much got answered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys that, starting with like the Exhibit 10 guys.
Right.
I mean,
which ones? Who?
Right.
I'm like, who's here?
Right. You know what I'm saying? We had some Exhibit 10 guys here. Boom, they get Wade.
Right.
Jalen Martin, Wade. Isaiah Roby, Wade. Jalen Martin didn't even play.
Right.
He didn't even play. And then Isaiah Roby, he played a few minutes, but, get waived. And then they bring in some Cavalier guys, Cleveland Cavaliers guys. I have my theories about that.
Right.
I have my theories about that. one or two things: either they're trying to get intel to go up against Cleveland, or they know these guys and Donovan Mitchell are buddies, and they try to bring him in.
If
we find out later, like Dylan Windler and Donovan Mitchell were real close, you know, like it's all starting to make sense. Dylan Windler, Brandon Goodwin, Diakite. I don't know how to say his name. The last name.
I practiced
Diakite. All right, there we go. Diakite.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. We find out later on that these guys are, you know, good friends of Donovan Mitchell, because Donovan Mitchell's a free agent this summer, right?
Next.
Oh, it's next summer?
Well, this is opt-out at the end of this year, or?
I think the opt-out is at the end of next year, but they don't really want to go into. No, you might be right.
I'm gonna check it out. But
you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah. You know, based on the preseason, got quiet for a second. I was like, oh, wait a minute, what happened?
I think you might have uncovered something. That's why it got silent. Sam's on to something here.
You know, based on the preseason, I mean, just looking at some things in the preseason, I like what I saw from Mitchell Robinson.
Yes.
I thought Mitchell Robinson looked bigger and stronger. I wasn't impressed with Grimes much. I wasn't impressed with Grimes.
Don't talk too much, Sam. You got the Grimes
preseason, man. You know, what you guys think about Grimes in this preseason?
Well, let me just say, Steph, you are correct. It's actually, it's crazier than I think. Unless I'm reading it wrong, it looks like 2023-24 is the current season.
Right.
He's on the contract. Then the following season, he's on the contract, and then he's got the player option the following season.
Right.
So I don't know about this whole waiting for Donovan Mitchell thing. If the Knicks don't trade for this guy, I don't know. By that time, our window may be closed.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, Quentin Grimes. I talked about Quentin Grimes earlier on the show.
This morning.
Yeah. And it helped us kind of really dive into Quentin Grimes, because I did like a little comparison. Who's the more valuable player, Quentin Grimes or Emmanuel Quickley? And looking at Quentin Grimes, I will say that a big issue for me with him is his we've talked about it. He has a great motor, but the motor is like too fast. Like when he's out there, some of his decision making, he's too quick with the ball. Sometimes, we were talking about it today. He looks uncomfortable sometimes with his handle. He looks unsure of himself. But with his shot, he's so quick to shoot. He's got to actually level himself off to start getting up comfortable. Like even when in the game where he scored 22 points and they featured him, his first couple shots, they were quick. They were off to the side. There was no flow. And then once he started to calm down, it started to go. I mean, he wasn't even touching rim after a certain point.
Yeah.
Them shots was good. So I just think he has to continue to do that. And he also has to start believing in himself confidence-wise on the offensive end. Like the fact that you're getting limited shots is also on you. It's not just the coach and the scheme. You got to be aggressive and demand the ball from your teammates. Right. Start showing them, hey, listen, give me the ball. I'm going to do something good with it. Right. That's why Quickley, when it comes to just offense, he goes to get his. Quickley ain't never seen a shot he ain't like.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's aggressive. He just has an aggressive mindset.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the thing with Grimes. He has a passive mindset.
Right.
You know, kind of a passive mindset. What did you think, Steph?
I didn't see the improvement I wanted to see in terms of him handling the ball and in terms of him creating for himself and others. And I get it. You're on a team with high usage players with Randall, Brunson, RJ. You're not going to have a lot of opportunities to create for yourself or others. However, in that game in which they didn't play, I thought now we're going to get an opportunity to see the improvement in his skill set. And I just didn't see that. What I saw was he got more shots and he knocked down more shots, but it was still the same thing he always did, which is knock down shots.
Right.
I was a little disheartened, and I think I'm the only one on this bandwagon of wanting Grimes, if he's going to start, to be able to handle the ball and help Brunson out as far as bringing the ball up the court. But in that game, him, McBride, and DiVincenzo, when Jaylen Brown put the clamps on them, they could not get past their defender at all. They was just going east-west. Did I say that right? They was going east-west. So that made me, I'm like, now I see why Brunson is always bringing the ball down the court, because those guys, in my opinion, from what I've seen, can't handle the ball against pressure.
Right.
So for me, with Grimes, this is where he is right now. He's a 3-and-D guy with an opportunity to, and he can attack the closeout. I saw that last season. He attacked closeout. So he's a 3-and-D guy who can attack the closeout. I'm off my ball handling bandwagon with Grimes. I'm off of it.
I'm with you.
It is what it is. And remember what Sim said in the past. We've talked about it. That we both saw it when it happened, and like it's happened a couple times, but especially in that game where we talked about. And I think I talked to Sim right after the game or whatever. But I know he's brought it up again. When we saw last year that Grimes was in certain positions with the ball, he didn't know what to do, like getting trapped at the half court line, and you know what I mean, like
picking his dribble up early.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's the same thing. You know, someone in the chat said, you know, Grimes played well against Boston. He made shots against Boston, but same thing. It was off of kickouts. Somebody else created for him.
Right.
You know, and I mean, when someone else is creating your shot for you, you're relying upon that person. So it's going to be nice when you get 3 shots, 2 shots, 4 shots, because you're waiting for somebody else. You know, you're waiting for the game flow to flow to you, right? So someone else has to create it and kick it out. And if for some reason it's just not going your way, you're not going to get shots.
Right.
And I think, Tim, we can stop not just for him, everybody else on the Knicks, we can stop the players are being held back.
Right.
Because when those guys didn't play, that was your opportunity to show that, I got game. It's just that the role that I'm in, I'm not able to show it. I didn't see nobody is miscast on this team, put it that way, from what I saw versus Boston. Everybody is where they should be in the rotation and in terms of how they're being played.
Right.
From what I saw in that Boston game, I didn't see anything different from anybody, really.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, Gregory Shabazz, he said, you know, Sim hates Grimes. I don't hate Grimes. I wouldn't have kept him out of a Donovan Mitchell trade, but I don't hate Grimes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, the Knicks need ball handling. It showed in the Miami series.
Correct.
Right? And Quentin Grimes being one of your other guards out there on the floor, you know, you would like him to be able to handle the ball,
right?
Sometimes create a shot,
right?
And he can't do that,
right? Yeah.
He can't do that. He has no counters. He's a straight line to the basket. So you're not going to see Quentin Grimes go to the basket and then if the defense cuts him off, go between the legs and change directions or maybe spin. He's not doing that. If they stop that one line to the basket, he's picking the ball up and looking for somebody else. And, you know, hopefully his game can grow. But right now, like you said, I think he's strictly 3-and-D, and we can't expect much more.
Yeah. Right. And it's a shame because you can tell that if he just, I don't know what it is that will help unlock him, but you can tell that he's got it. Like last year, I can only point to a short period of time. And you remember in the regular season last year when we started the season, Quentin Grimes was doing some wild stuff that I never seen Quentin Grimes do. He was dribbling the ball, he was getting into the lane, he was doing feeds behind the back, he was jumping in the air. I have not seen Quentin Grimes do that since.
That was during the season, Ron, or in the summer league?
No, regular season. In summer league is different. He was definitely doing it, experimenting in summer league. But in the regular season, he was dishing it off to Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson was getting an easy dunk because he was filling the lane and knowing what he was trying to do. It only happened for like a few games. We never seen it again.
So you think it's a confidence issue?
I do think it's a confidence. It's surprising to me because he got the face. He talks up a good game like he's very confident.
Right.
But I don't necessarily see it when he's on the court.
I think I agree with you. You know, I agree, and I think he's still, you know, kind of passive. Right. You know, those guys, they're out there on the floor. Randall, Brunson, RJ, and he just, you know, I'm gonna let them guys, you know, do the heavy lifting. I think he's passive in that way. You know, and I'll say it again. I said it a bunch of times. I don't see that he's developed any chemistry with anyone in that starting lineup.
And that was a really good point. And I didn't think about that until you said it. I was like, he has not gotten like a bond or something with somebody where you can see they have that click. That connect, you know, a lot of other guys have got that. Right. And to the Knicks fans out there, you guys know, if you don't know, I love Quentin Grimes. So I'm saying this because I'm being a realist. And as we continue to move forward and watch our team, certain things are on the table that we got to look at differently, like coming down to who's more valuable, Quentin Grimes or Emmanuel Quickley? Because now it's about the money. We're going to have to start paying these guys. And if they're not the answer, we're going to be stuck.
Yeah.
Particularly in this new CBA, whereas before it was just a money game. You could pay whoever you want.
Yeah.
Just pay the fine. Just pay, you go over the cap. Just pay the fees or whatever it is and get another player.
Right.
Now you get to that second tier, you locked into your roster. So you got to be a bit more careful about who you sign and how much you signed them for.
Exactly.
Right. And Sim, I don't want to cut you off because I know we want to move on to different things. But real quick, another thing, hindsight is 2020. If you had known, if we knew, because we love Quentin Grimes too.
Right.
And when we heard like he might have been the sticking point in the Donovan Mitchell trade, you were like, we were on the fence. Like, I get it, but it's Donovan Mitchell, right?
Right.
But had we known that we could trade for Donovan Mitchell, give up Grimes, and have a chance to get Josh Hart in here,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Shout out to Uncle Fulio. Thank you for the super chat. He said, salute to the NBK family. So excited for the season. Cheers to Sim for studying my debate techniques. Yes. I am Tom Thibodeauing you, Josh. Studying your debate techniques. No doubt about it. Now, what do you think about Quickley, though? First of all, his preseason. He played 2 games.
Right.
What did you think about those 2 games in the preseason for Quickley?
He looked a little helter-skelter to me. So one of the things that I liked about Quickley last season is as the season went on, he got really good at figuring out when he should go for his shot and when he should set the team up.
Right.
And I thought that was a big part of his growth, the improvement in his decision making. These first 2 games, I haven't really seen that. I've seen a lot of him looking for his shot. Now, I haven't watched the preseason games over again. It could have been who he was in the game, who he was in the game with. Maybe he's worried about his extension. I don't know.
It's got to be in the back of his mind. You know what I mean?
I just seen a lot more helter-skelter in his game and a little less setting the team up.
Right. I agree with that. And like the first preseason game, I just thought he had the ball in his hands way too much. Not that he had the ball in his hands way too much. I felt like he was pounding it way too much. Right. He'd have the ball for 15 seconds on the, on the shot clock. Right. You know what I mean? And everything just went through quickly.
Right.
In that second unit, in that first preseason game, just everything was quickly. And I understand because, like right now, maybe between him and Dante DiVincenzo, obviously he's the one that knows the sets and those things. But I can't see it being, if you do that all season long, that's going to be, I don't know how that second unit is if they're going to be as good as we think they will be if, he doesn't expand his game and, like you said, set the table for other people.
I wonder if DiVincenzo should be the one, and I'm not saying he's a great ball handler either, but I wonder if he should be the one running the set so Quickley can play off the ball and not have that playmaking responsibility.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that would be great in my opinion because I think, oh man, we talked about this for like an hour and a half earlier, going back and forth with the chat. I think Emmanuel Quickley is the best 2-guard on this team. Pure 2-guard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because Tibbs knows what he's got with the starting lineup with Brunson and what he's got on the second unit, and nobody has really stepped up to show that ball handling. He's got to keep Quickley pigeonholed in that slot.
I agree.
So, but if Dante DiVincenzo can step up and start really taking on some ball handling duties, that would definitely free up the interchangeability between those two, make us a lot more flexible.
Right.
That second unit can be less stagnant,
right?
And we can do some good things. And I also want to say to myself too, but also to fellow Knicks fans, you haven't seen the best of Dante DiVincenzo. You've only seen bits and pieces. He's not comfortable yet.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think we've seen the best.
Yeah.
Do you think IQ gets his extension? They got 2 days. They got until the 23rd. Well, I mean, basically a day, right? It's the 23rd or the 24th?
23rd.
It's the 23rd.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. It's not looking good in my eyes.
Right.
But and the other thing is, for some reason, more than ever before, I really do think the Knicks are going to make a trade this year, and because of that, I don't think they can sign Quickley. I think they need that Quickley flexibility in order because you don't know what pieces you're going to need to consummate the trade, right? And of course, without having Quickley's money on the table, it might force you to do something else to make salaries match if you're trying to get a big time player. But Quickley is a very marketable trade chip.
Yeah, our best, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
other than Randall and Brunson.
Right. Yeah. And so to lock him up and then not be able to, because once you sign him, you can't trade him to win off season.
I think it's the off season.
Right. Yeah. That's really hurting your flexibility.
But even if you sign him, if you don't sign him, it's only $4 or $5 million. You're gonna have to add him to a package to somebody else.
That's the tough part.
That's the thing.
That's the tough part.
I don't know. They're in a tough spot right here.
If you don't give him the contract, give him an extension now, you want to trade him. Are you really going to get the value for him because he's only making $4 or $5 million? You know, I guess you got to attach Evan Fournier to try to get that value for him. You know what I mean?
Or maybe maybe we overthinking it. Maybe just throwing it out there. Maybe if they wanted like a Joel Embiid, they got to trade what they got to trade to make it work, and it quickly becomes a fixture on the Knicks.
Yeah,
you sign Quickley and that's it. You got to sign him by the 23rd though.
Right. Then you got the Skechers boys over here. Got the Skechers boys. Who was I talking to? Andy the other day, and we said Skechers and Wildcats. Knicks got Skechers and Wildcats. What? You bring Joel Embiid here. Right. It's I don't think he's gonna get it. I don't think he's going to get the extension now. If he gets the extension, I think it'll probably be in the off season. The same way they did with RJ, right? I think it'll probably be in the off season. You know, it'll give them a chance to see him play this season, see if is he still at that 6th man of the year candidate level. Does he improve his game? You know what I mean? How much? You know, Tom Thibodeau loves him, so Tom Thibodeau's going to be in his corner, but. He? How does our team fall? Do we really need him? Is he? I think Tony Crow the other day felt like when the Knicks played the Wizards, they really missed IQ, and this kind of proved his value to the organization,
which was interesting. Yeah. Like what how banged up is Quickley really? Like what's this all about? It was very interesting.
Right. Tibbs came to his defense, though, but what else is he going to say?
Right. Of course. Of course. I mean, listen, I think I wouldn't put it past his agents to have said, he's a little bit nicked up. No, he's not going to play in these 2 preseason games because we don't want to chance an injury without an extension. Right. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't put it past
somebody in the chat brought up during the Thursday show, did the Knicks hold him out because they had a trade in the works?
I don't know.
I don't think so, but
I don't know. I guess maybe at the time because the Knicks had waived Jalen Martin, had waived Isaiah Roby, so it looked like there were roster spots available. And then, Emmanuel Quickley's held out of the game, so it could look like, all right, well, maybe there's something happening, but I don't. From the way that I've seen this regime work, unless it's a star like a Joel Embiid or something like that, really, really big move, I don't see the Knicks making a move until the trade deadline. They normally are kind of like, it feels like they want to go into the season with their team, go into training camp, go into the season with their team, assess the team, and then look at what trades they're going to make, unless it's going to be something major that you got to make at this time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, Dante DiVincenzo, we talked, a little bit about him. How'd you feel about Dante and his play in the preseason?
Well, I mean, personally, like I said, I could see that he's not quite comfortable yet. It's going to take him a little time, and that's fair. Like, we got to be, as fans, you put your emphasis on, man, they didn't do nothing this offseason. But we got Dante DiVincenzo, so they got him for a reason. So let me see what. And then when you start seeing him, if you don't look comfortable out there, you start second guessing everything. The organization, what are they doing? Why they bring this guy in? This guy's a bum. He's like everybody. Fans start to get a little crazy with that. But you got to understand, even if he has, some level of comfort knowing that he's on a team with Brunson and Hart, this ain't the Villanova system. This is the New York
Right.
Knicks system.
Right.
So he's still got to get accustomed to what Tibbs likes to run offensively and defensively, and figure out his role with the rest of the guys on this team. Like, they got to understand him too, where he likes the ball, what he likes to do out there,
Right.
you know, and not jam him up. And that takes time. We saw it, a really good example of a player who took some time to mesh. And then when he started going, he looked a lot better out there. We started to appreciate him. I mean, of course, he didn't play no defense, but Fournier. When Fournier first came to the Knicks, when we had Kim and Fournier was struggling early. And it took him a little while to start getting comfortable. Once he started getting comfortable, you know, and I'm not talking about the first regular season game. We know he lit it up and helped us win. But I'm talking like overall, when we got into the regular season, he wasn't comfortable. And then they started doing the dribble handoff stuff. Him and Julius doing the two-man game. And, you know, it took some time. But a guy like that, you got to give him a minute to, especially if we feel like he's the type of guy who could be a good ball handler. He needs some time to get comfortable and also know where the rest of his guys on the team like the ball, how to get them open.
And then, you know, kind of, you know, to be able to know those, whatever the sets are in and out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that now that helps you know where to get guys the ball, you know, things like that. So yeah, I expect that as time goes on, he's gonna take over some of those ball handling duties in the second unit.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree with both of you. A lot of the turnovers he got was trying to make a pass to a teammate, and they just not on the same page. They just not clicking. So I think as time goes on, because people in the chat were very concerned about it. He had 6 turnovers. He's a turnover machine. But it was really trying to pass to somebody, and that connection is, you know, just wasn't there. They weren't expecting, you know, they weren't expecting the ball. Matter of fact, I think he was trying to pass too much. Some of it was shots. He passed it, you know, to somebody trying to get a better shot. They're not expecting it. Is going out of bounds. He'll be better. I like his hustle, and we expected that anyway. Getting off the ball. I mean, getting on the floor for the ball. Even with, you know, navigating screens, getting back into the play after a screen. One time he got screened off, came back, blocked the shot. You know, so I like him. We'll see how it unfolds. If he can become that primary ball handler in that for that second team, that does free up Quickley, because I think with Quick, that's not his automatic mindset. I think he has to remind himself, wait, I'm the point guard. Okay. I got to go for mine when I can, and then I got to try. It's not natural. You know, hopefully it's more natural for DiVincenzo. I believe he played. Did he play point in Villanova, or that was Brunson?
I think it was Brunson.
But I think he also had the ball handling
in his
duties
hands
too.
sometimes. And even in Golden State, if Steph Curry or whoever was out, you know, he helped handle the ball a little bit too. You know, so I think he'll get into it.
I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll get into it. And you know, that last preseason game, you talk about overpassing. I thought all of the Knicks were overpassing. I felt like they were trying to force the ball into Mitch, like little hook passes. Jalen Brunson, you know, I thought, you know, was some passes that I don't know. Maybe it was something that they talked about.
Well, it goes back to the thing I said, like Jalen and other guys trying to get other guys involved in the game, and you know, but it's not comfortable. It takes some time to start doing that.
Right. Take some time. You think Evan Fournier is going to be in the lineup on Wednesday?
I would be surprised, but he got more minutes than I thought he would get even in the preseason.
I didn't think he was going to get minutes in the preseason, and he did. I feel like in the beginning of the season he might play 12 to 13 minutes.
I think he could. I think he should.
I think he might. The only reason why I say that is because when they played Washington, if that was the dress rehearsal, which was a terrible dress rehearsal, but he was in there like not just in the fourth quarter, but in that second quarter when the bench, you know, when the bench came in. So, you know, we'll see if he's. You know, we'll see.
I think it would show that Tibbs understands that you got some talented players on the team that, you know, if you figure out how to use them in spots, right? You can benefit from what they offer the team. And I also think that we may see Tibbs do some things a little differently to start the season because the schedule is kind of tough. Like some of these games are like you don't want to give these games away, so you're going to have to fight. You can't just say, okay, it's the beginning of the season. We'll come together and, you know, now these games are important. So
the beginning of the season. I mean, their first 5 games, they played 4 playoff teams for last year and 1 play-in team. That's the first 5 games. Yeah,
Right.
it's going to be a tough schedule.
I would hope that what Tibbs does is what I wanted him to do in the past. You just his line. The game will show you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the game will show you what to do.
Yeah. So if the game is starting off and you got guys who are struggling out there,
the game's supposed to tell Tibbs what to do too, right?
Hey, Tibbs, listen to the game, man. Put Fournier in there. Maybe he can give you a little juice.
Yeah. And I don't. I think the game doesn't always tell Tibbs what to do.
Tibbs got his own game going on.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Right.
You know what I did like in the preseason? I thought the Knicks ran transition offense really well. I thought they spread the floor, in transition, like good spacing, ran the lanes well.
Right.
They're looking up. Their head is up. As soon as they get a rebound, boom, they're looking up the floor to see if someone's open. I thought they did a really good job. And this is where I think Evan Fournier can come into play because he can shoot that 3.
Right.
Right. And if you're looking up ahead, and you can find Evan Fournier out at the 3-point line. Now the defense is scrambling to get to him. Now you open up something under the basket.
Right.
He can really come into play there, I think. But I did really like the way that they pushed the ball up the floor in transition, because I can remember like 3 years ago, their transition fast breaks were terrible.
Right.
Like Julius Randle, closest me and you, Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, right here, trying to make a pass to each other, getting in each other's way. But it looked like they really did, they've been working on spreading out, making lanes for guys to run in transition. So, even against Boston, when the starters didn't play, they had 16 fast break points. I think Boston had 8. So I'm hoping that the Knicks are, they're able to keep that up.
Right.
Keep that transition offense.
Yeah. And I think that they worked on that and focused on certain things. And maybe that's why some of the things that that they're good at, the half-court offense that they're running and the different sets that they're used to doing, kind of took a backseat for a little bit. It'll clean itself up. I just think, that it's good to focus on certain things that maybe you're not doing so well at. So
Right. I mean, if we can get some fast break points, that would be great. Anything we can get without the defense,
especially with the losing Obi.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
So
yeah.
It'll happen with the second team, though.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know about that first team.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I mean, the first team, they just, they got plotting players. They don't have fast break guys.
Right.
But RJ looked a little faster, I thought. I thought RJ looked a little faster in the preseason. I love the fact he was getting to the line, knocking down his free throws.
Yep.
He had a couple of good shooting nights beyond the arc. So, I think there's some positive things coming from RJ.
Yeah.
I've seen some people in the chat were nervous about, look at Jalen Brunson. I ain't seen him do nothing. Any concerns? I don't have any concerns about Brunson. Any concerns about Brunson?
No. However, a part of me does wonder, will he take a step back? Like, a part of me does wonder, he's going to get a lot of attention. But then I'll say to myself, but he got a lot of attention last year.
Right.
He got a lot of attention, in the Miami series. I'm not worried about Brunson. I wonder, though, and I thought he was overpassing in the last game. I'm like, I hope he's not in here in these chats listening to the fans talking about he don't pass enough.
Yeah.
Right.
He was top 20 in potential assists. Come on.
Because the night before, Spree was on the show, and he said, Sim, do you think Jalen Brunson has a problem seeing the floor? Do you think he's a good passer? Right? And the next day, overpassing. I'm like, what we doing? Come on, Knicks fans, don't ruin a good thing.
Right. He'll be fine.
I think he'll be fine. I also think that Jalen Brunson is going to, we already seen it. He's going to watch what, damn it, Tibbs, always coming back. The game is going to show you. No, I think Jalen Brunson actually does live by that. He sees what's happening out there on the court, and if guys are doing well, he feels his role. But if we need scoring, if other guys ain't getting baskets, if he sees, we talked about this a bunch of times. One of the things I love about Brunson is he pays attention to the game. When he sees the other team is going on a run, he tries to keep us in the game. He might hit a 3, he might do whatever to keep us close. I think that's not going to change. I think he's going to continue to do that stuff.
And what I like about that, Ron, is if we ever got another scorer on this team, I think Brunson would take a back seat. I don't think he's somebody that has to score to be effective for the Knicks.
Right.
You know, we need him to score right now. But if we were to bring in like another high-powered scorer, I'm not saying he's gonna go to 10 points a game, but I think he wouldn't mind taking a step back, being more of a facilitator, picking his spots when he, you know, to shoot or to score. Because with the FIBA team, I was really surprised at his passing with that team.
Right.
And I was like, wow, you see what he can do when he has better players, playing with him.
And we've seen on nights when he's not scoring, when his shot isn't falling, he get double-digit assists.
Yeah.
You know,
so. And we kind of probably should have already expected it. We've seen it.
That's true.
He was with Dallas with Luka. He played that role for a couple years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not too surprising. This is in him. What we saw last year is him stepping up and trying to fill what the Knicks needed him to do. And it also puts the rest of the league on notice. Like, I got game. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah, no doubt about that. Before we go into the season, like really, you know, previewing the season, Julius Randle in the preseason. Thoughts on Julius Randle?
I think Julius is going to be fine. I'm not worried about him at all. I think he's just it's gonna take him a little time to kind of get going again, getting his win and getting his stamina together. I think you've already seen some good things out there on the court from him, what he's been doing, and I think he's just going to continue to do that as he gets more comfortable back in the swing of things. You can only do so much when you're rehabbing your ankle. I think the ankle is somewhat strong. I just think now he's got to really put it out there and get back into what he's used to doing. I think he'll be fine. He's the one guy actually I'm not worried about.
Me either.
Yeah. I thought in the preseason, and I said this on the show yesterday or whenever it was, that I thought Julius Randle looked like I made 2 All-NBA teams. I've made 2 All-Star teams. I don't have to prove myself. And maybe it's just the preseason, but it felt to me like he was just more confident in who he was as a player, right? And I think if he is, that's going to make his game more efficient. And maybe it's the studying that he said he had to do, during the offseason. But if he feels like I don't have to prove myself now, people know. Right. Now I can really just let the game come to me. I take what I have to when I need to, and it just felt to me like maybe the game slowed down. It is slowing down a little bit to him. And that could come from looking at more video and stuff like that. But it looked like it was slowing down to him a little bit.
Could be.
Yeah, he looked good to me.
Yeah.
He looked very active, on the defensive end, though. I know during the course of the season or game, because he has such an offensive role, he is going to have to pick his spots.
Right.
But I'm not worried about Julius Randle at all. I feel like he's crossed over in the sense that we know what we can expect from him game in, game out as far as the season is concerned. I'm looking forward to it. He said it himself that at this point in his career, it's about the mental. It's about the mental. And one thing about Randle, whatever he's put in his mind to work on in the off season, he comes back and you can see the difference. So if he's working on his mental, then we'll be able to see it soon enough.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's get into the upcoming season. And I guess we can take this, coming off the preseason, do you see any pressing issues that the Knicks have that's really pressing the team?
I have 2. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, you sure?
Oh, it sounds like you got a lot. Let me roll off my 2 real quick. The lack of ball handling in the backcourt, but I think Randle and RJ will help. I've seen RJ get the ball up, from the rebound, bring it up the court. So I think they're going to work that through with Randle and RJ helping Brunson out. 2, the backup power forward spot. Hart didn't play that many minutes, so we didn't get a chance to see it a lot. But when he was out there against Minnesota, he was playing Cat. I don't know if Cat got the advantage, but he looked like he was towering over Hart. So I'm just a little concerned about that. But the flip side of it is there's no power forward is going to be able to match Hart getting a rebound and pushing it down the court for the score. So we will have the advantage there. But it is a concern of mine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm concerned about the perimeter defense once again. I think at some point, Tibbs has got to look at this perimeter defense and say, okay, I can't reinvent the wheel. My defensive principles, what we got going on, is set for a reason, and it works. It's produced. It's,
right.
Okay, so you don't change that. You keep that. But you can throw a little wrinkle in there.
Yeah.
Let's do this and just show a team that looks like they got something going offensively with shooting threes or whatever. Let's show them this. And even if it's for a little bit of time, just to give them a different look and kind of, put them in a position where now they are like on their heels. Oh, maybe we got to do something different because the Knicks have adjusted. And then you go back to what you normally do.
Right.
Yeah. Like you can't go crazy and reinvent the wheel. But I think that it would be nice for them to be able to see something a little different to mix things up. The other thing is offensively, half-court offense. Half-court offense is a little tricky. Like, can we do something to continue to get that floor spacing that we're looking for that so many different players need? Jalen Brunson needs it. RJ Barrett needs it. Julius Randle needs the floor spacing so he can get those lanes. And while we're doing that, put us in a position where we can get good looks and open shots for someone like Grimes so he can be involved in the offense. So that's important to me. The other thing is, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we did that great in the preseason, like with our traditional rebounding. Like that's one of our big things to do that we usually have an advantage. I think I was on the show earlier today. Shout out to D's World of Hoops. He had mentioned, I think, in the East, I think we were fifth. No, I think we were fifth on offensive rebounding and seventh defensive rebounding. So we averaged we're sixth overall, something like that. And in this preseason, I actually felt like we got out rebounded by everybody we played. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I think 3 out of 4 games, I think we definitely did.
Yeah.
And so that's concerning to me. Maybe it's also because we were experimenting, doing different things we had, but we were experimenting with Jericho Sims, and you know what I mean? We should be rebounding. I'm just saying.
The ball. Right. Yeah, them two dudes out there.
So those are concerns. And the other concerns are more like individual. Will Quickley be consistent throughout the season? He had a tough start to the season last year, but he finished strong. Right. Will Grimes be aggressive and take the next step to what he's got going on? Because we need that from him. We're not a really good 3-point shooting team. Grimes is a good 3-point shooter. We need him to be able to be a little bit more aggressive out there and get those shots up. RJ has to be more consistent, and then outside of that, I think everything else will work itself out. DiVincenzo will figure out who he is with the Knicks, and Julius will be fine. He'll be regular season Julius again. We just don't know what version of regular season Julius we're going to get. We could get last year's version where he's shooting a lot of threes, right? Or we could get the version in the most improved player season where he's more comparable, shooting some threes, scoring inside. We just don't know what version we're getting yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel like Julius is moving more and more out on the perimeter, and becoming more of a perimeter player than inside player, but hopefully, he still realizes that he's still hard to stop when he's under the basket. And also, I'd like to see the Knicks get him going downhill more.
Yeah, definitely
going downhill. Well, we got a new panel member.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody knows. So, if you want to just, take a second to introduce yourself to everybody that's watching.
Yeah, salute to the chat. Salute to the panel. Sim, thanks for having me.
No
Ron,
problem.
I watch you all of your different shows. Steph, I was just recently on her show. I'm Lady and the Chef. Actually, my mom and I just launched our own podcast on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
So we're on YouTube as 2 Knicks Chicks.
Okay.
So look out for that.
Yeah,
So we'll be doing a lot of Knicks content.
Nice.
Looking forward to the upcoming season. We just did 2 episodes speaking about the New York Liberty. So when the WNBA season is on, we'll be talking about that. But definitely we'll be discussing and bringing our viewpoints on the Knicks. Looking forward. We were actually on Steph's show for the first episode of the all women's panel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've been to like 2 other events. My last one I came to was back in late June. So I came for the draft party.
Right.
So that was nice. And then I came during the last season when the Knicks were playing in the playoffs, and that was like a ton of fun. So I look forward to when you guys have episodes here, you know, live shows here at Legends. So it's worth taking a trip from Jersey here.
Yeah.
So I'm not deep in Jersey either, so it's nice.
Good. Well, we welcome you, and you know, you're free to join whenever I have a show. You're free to join the panel.
Absolutely,
anytime.
absolutely.
Same with me, and obviously because I don't want to infringe on the 2 Knicks chicks, but if you ever want some outside appearances from people,
definitely,
always.
we do.
Same here. Always, just let
yeah,
me know.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, do you have any thoughts on any pressing issues coming out of the preseason?
Yeah, I think a lot of you fellas already covered a lot, but I think for sure the Knicks to me didn't look as strong in the preseason as I would have liked them to look. I know, Ron, you were just saying they were experimenting a lot. Tibbs were using different lineups. I definitely don't see Fournier getting a lot of playing time. To me, he's very timid on a defensive end. I would like to see him playing. He plays defense almost like he's afraid to get hurt, you know. And I think on the offense, we know what he can do, but I think the defense matters also. Defense helps get you those W's.
Right.
But for me, the Knicks, you know, I was talking to Steph before you guys started going live, and one thing we were saying was, for me, one of the issues I have with a lot of the players was, on the off season, I would have liked to see a lot of players work on their weaknesses. You know, like Mitch, getting yourself a coach, working on your post up game. Grimes, you know, working more on the handle for yourself. You know, just seeing guys really develop their games more, and I haven't really seen that. But I'm a firm believer. I'm a true Knicks fan, so I'm hoping to see the Knicks get better each game and get better every day and go further than they did last season.
Right.
So, but the preseason, a little bit of a concern. I'm with you, Ron. There's a little bit of concern there. They didn't look as strong. But we'll see what the season brings with the Knicks this season.
Do you think they're relying too much on continuity?
I do. I think that's something that we definitely lack, that we do need. You know, we need the continuity there with the Knicks. It takes the community to win the game. You know, it takes all 5 guys, all, you know, the bench players also. But I don't want to see the Knicks heavily reliant on just Brunson and Randall. That's not going to get you those W's every night on a consistent basis. You know, you need your Quickleys. You need Grimes to come in and step up. You need RJ to step up. And that's what's going to help you get those wins. You know, and just, I want to see some more leadership too, whether that comes from Randall and Brunson just coming in when there's timeouts and, you know, getting on guys and correcting them. Not so much of like every man for themselves. We know, like Randall, you can give us 25, 30 points a game and, you know, 10, 12 rebounds a night. But just, you know, checking other players and letting them know, like, hey, you know, I would have liked to see you cut there or get there and set that screen. And just having that leadership role, I think, is something else that we're lacking on the team. And we don't really have that. And I think that with players like Randall, you've been in the league long enough, so I would like to see that more. But I just think that the continuity is something that we're relying on way too much, but it is something that we do need.
Right. Yeah. Because I heard when Randall was in, when they were asking him about, you know, the preseason and how they played during the preseason, and you know, he kept coming back to, you know, we have continuity. Boom. You just can't rely on that, though.
Right.
You know,
it's not enough.
You can have a lot of chemistry and continuity, but if you don't come out and play, you know, work hard, play on the defensive side of the ball, you know, that all of that can go down the drain really, really, really fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not winning basketball games, you know, sticking together can sometimes be hard. I think this team has enough leadership and connection with each other that if they start losing games, they won't come at each other and they can stay strong. But I agree, they can't just rely on the continuity.
Yeah.
You know, they got to bring it. And, you know, I know, like they were saying, well, you know, preseason's over. Now it's time to go. Da, da, da. I don't want them thinking like, hey, we can just turn it on either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, hopefully they get it. They're having a good week of practice, and they're going to be ready to come out on Wednesday. And I do agree. I want to see people step up, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And take those leadership roles, but the right way, because I don't want Randall and Quickley fighting. You know what I'm saying? How you doing?
Hey.
Huh?
Oh,
You from
nice to meet
Ireland?
you.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Nice.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Got to
All
pay it
right.
all the way from
All
Ireland.
No,
Yeah.
you're fine. You're fine.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep, they see you.
Yep, they see you. All right.
Take care.
Take care. Have a good one. Have a good one. Well, on the New York Knicks. Yeah, we're talking
Yes,
about the
yeah.
Knicks. Yeah.
Thank you.
We got it.
Thank you. That's right, folks. Live. You seen it here.
Live.
NBK. Anything can happen. Anything will happen.
Anything will happen. No doubt about that. Oh.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, you can't make it up.
No.
Can't make that up. Can't make that up. I forgot where I was at.
As well you should. As well you should.
I forgot where I was at.
That
now.
doesn't happen every day.
It doesn't happen. I forgot where I was at. We were talking about Julius Randle. We were talking about Julius
Continuity
Randle.
and Julius Randle. Yeah.
Julius Randle. Him and Emmanuel Quickley had their thing last year. It probably got blown out of proportion, as far as the fans and things like that. But Julius Randle should be one of those guys that can step up and be able to say, hey, we need you here, we need you there, right? Because he's been there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's been with Tom Thibodeau since he's been with the Knicks. So he should know what Tom Thibodeau was asking for, but he's got to know how to do it the right way.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the thing about Julius Randle, I like Julius Randle, but he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy when he is asking someone to, that knows how to do it with decorum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially because he gets emotional, especially if he's in the game. Like I've seen him actually trying to get someone else the ball, but when he's waiting, he's like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's something, a way that he's gonna have to learn how to. Everyone you can't address the same way, right? You got to address people differently and how to address those guys. You know. But I go one step at a time. Let him get himself under control, right? And then figure that part out.
Now
too.
let me ask you. Oh no, don't do it, Ron. I don't want to do it.
Uh-oh.
Are you worried at all? Look, okay, I'm sorry. I see things. I think them. Sometimes I shouldn't say them. I don't want to be the first one to say it. Are you worried at all? Preseason Julius Randle has been very calm. I'm not. I know maybe it's just preseason. These games don't matter to him, so he's not making a big deal about it. But Julius plays with that fire in his belly, and that kind of helps him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't see any of that fire in his belly in any preseason game, no matter what he did. I'm just hoping that Julius isn't checked out. Got my Skechers deal. Just changed my agent. I'm getting paid. I don't know what's happening over here, but Julius gonna be all right. I don't. I'm just saying. I don't want to be the one to say it.
I don't think so. I'm
hoping I'm wrong.
I think when when it gets down to it, those games get tight.
Yeah.
Listen. Last year in the Miami series, I just came to that conclusion. I don't care what Julius Randle does. I don't want him playing like he did with Miami. Although he had a couple of games with good numbers, but he was passive.
Right.
And didn't have the fire. I'd rather have, if he gets text, whatever. I'd rather have him have the fire.
And we talked about that. So we thought that maybe their style of basketball, what Miami likes to do and get in your head, get you in foul trouble, get you to do something out of character.
Right.
We thought, and it looked evident that he was thinking they're trying to do that to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to remain as calm as possible.
Exactly.
And that took away from Julius's game because he needs that fire. He's got to control it a little bit, but he still needs it.
Yeah.
He's got to play with it. One of the pressing issues for me is back to the 3-point defense. Well, I mean, the perimeter defense, but Boston lit us up on the 3-point line in the preseason. Washington lit us up on the 3-point line.
Another team, too. We played another team. They were Minnesota jacked it up on us.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are the same issues from last year.
Yeah.
Right? Teams come in and they lighten it up on the 3-point line, and then we can't hit anything. Now, we shot better from the 3-point line, right? But I mean, I think Washington they shot 44% from the 3-point line, I think it was. They shot 48 threes or 40, some large number, made obviously, a big portion of them. It's going to be impossible to beat teams if we're allowing them to shoot that well from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
It's going to be impossible.
Very.
When a team is shooting more threes than they're shooting twos, and there's a lot of teams in the NBA doing that now, the Knicks have got to figure out how do we defend the 3-point line.
It's true. Don't mind me while I'm thinking about, you know what I mean? Don't know who she been pounding out. So you know what I mean? Like, gotta. Yeah, I'm with you. You know what I mean?
Okay. We got to figure out something with the 3-point shooting.
Right.
Another thing, I don't think this is a pressing issue, but I do feel like coming into the season, the Knicks staggered their lineups in the preseason, right? Randall went out a little bit earlier in that first quarter, and then, Hart would come in, Jalen Brunson would come out, Quickley would come in. They a few minutes on the floor, and then all of a sudden, Deontay DiVincenzo would come in for Quentin Grimes. And I think there's a lot of little lineups. When you stagger it that way, there's a lot of little lineups that got to get used to playing with each other.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be something at the beginning of the season that the Knicks are going to have to get used to. Playing in those little 2 or 3 minutes with this group.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another group is going to come in, within 2 or 3 minutes and then playing with that group. Right. That's something I think in the beginning of the season, at least they're going to have to figure that out.
Yeah. And the other thing too, which I should have added that to my list. Maybe somebody else brought it up. My list of things that I'm concerned about. This small ball lineup stuff, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan. I know we as fans, we talked about it. It'd be nice to see the Knicks try to do this. It'd be nice to see them maybe when we had Obi, put Obi at the 4 and put Julius at the 5, or do something different, like switch it up. He never really did that, and when he did do it, he didn't like it. But now this iteration of small ball lineup, I don't like it at all. So
with Josh Hart,
I don't like it. Josh Hart, I think his benefits are really, he's a great rebounder at his position, his size. I just don't like when you have to depend on him being at the 4, guarding a 4, or do like it's you can only do so much. If you get the right 4, they're gonna tear you up. Like, when we play Boston on Wednesday, it's gonna be tough if they try that small ball stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. With the current team, what do you do? What do you do?
I don't. Well, first off, are we clear on, is Isaiah Roby a Knick or not?
I don't think so. He got waived, right?
But so if I'm not going crazy, I thought they waived Isaiah Roby. Then I saw that they brought Isaiah Roby back. Then they waived him again. And it could be just the timeline of where they put stuff out there. Shout out to International Andy. We were both confused about it. Because you can see it where it says they waived them. Then it says they re-signed Isaiah Roby. Then it says they waived them again. So
that's on the Knicks PR page?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, where he grabbed it from. But it's crazy.
I think they waived them, though. I think they waived them because they brought in Diakite. And he's a power forward.
But it looked like they had given him the Exhibit 10 contract again. Because I think he was on a non-guaranteed $2 million contract. Right? And so he wasn't on a two-way, but I think they gave him an Exhibit 10 offer, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe something changed. Maybe they did sign him, and then he thought about it with his agent and like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But the Knicks, well, never mind about Diakite. They waived him. They waived Brandon Goodwin. They waived Isaiah Roby, and they waived Dwayne Washington Jr. So, and yes, that did happen. So you're right. Right? They waived him, and then they signed him today at on an Exhibit 10 contract, and then they waived him a couple hours later. So
I don't know what they're doing. I have no clue.
I'm not surprised
I don't know.
though. I'm not surprised. I didn't think that the Knicks were going to keep Roby and Diakite. I didn't think that they would.
right.
I mean, the Knicks typically don't keep guys like that,
Yeah.
so I'm not surprised to hear.
But you know what this means, right?
What does it mean?
We got no backup power forward.
There's
Yeah.
roster spots open.
Yeah, but what are we
Right.
doing? Are we?
There's roster
See,
spots
that's what I kind of thought this earlier today, and I even put it on my show. But then I heard that they re-signed Roby, and I'm like, so now I can't talk about this. But now, who is the backup power forward? So the Knicks may be in line to make a move. I may not. I mean, it could. The writing on the wall because people be thinking it's a big move, but it could be a bigger move. Like we freed up enough money, 4 or 5, maybe because we got 3 two-ways. There's only one person on one, Dylan Windler.
Dylan Windler.
So that means there's $4 million should be sitting out there. We gave this guy a non-guaranteed $2 million. What we're gonna give him, we didn't pay him. So does that mean that money's available? Can we use that like $5 or $6 million, whatever it may be, to get a power forward in here? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, right now the Knicks have 17 players. I'm on their website right now looking at their roster. They have 17 players. Right? So they have Jacob Toppin, Dante DiVincenzo, Miles McBride, Josh Hart, Manuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Daquan Jeffries, who he had the same contract as Isaiah Roby, RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, Charlie Brown Jr., Dylan Windler, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Jericho Sims, Ryan Arcidiacono, and Isaiah Hartenstein. So it looks like they have one. I don't know if any of these, I don't know what their contracts are. You know, are they moving any of these players to two-way contracts? Because you can have 18 guys, 3 of them two-way contracts, 15 of them on the regular roster. Right now, we know Dylan Windler is on a two-way.
Right. He's the only. It looks like right now he's the only two-way that we have on the roster at the moment that we've used.
Yeah. So you know, I don't know. Daquan Jeffries, he's on a non-guaranteed contract, right? So at some point in time, if the Knicks don't waive him, it becomes guaranteed. I think those non-guaranteed contracts, it's maybe like January when they become guaranteed fully or something like that, right? So he's on a non-guaranteed contract. Charlie Brown Jr. Just an Exhibit 10, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Knicks got to have their roster cleaned up by the 23rd. I think it's the 23rd. So I guess we'll see up to that point.
Well, and then I had thought this earlier, but I thought better of it because it doesn't make any sense. I thought, are they trying to free up money to, add a little bit more to the Quickley pot? But it really doesn't matter because his contract's not taking in effect this year.
Not this year.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. We'll see. But so you feel like the backup power forward spot is one of the pressing issues.
I think it's going to come to a head for the Knicks because they can't. This small ball lineup to me isn't it right now. It's only going to work against certain teams, and even some teams that play small are still bigger than the Knicks.
Yeah,
like Orlando is not the biggest team. Some might call them a small team, but they're bigger than the Knicks at all their positions. They got bigger people than the Knicks. So I don't think it's going to work everywhere. And the other thing is, you don't want to. Right now, they're setting it up to play Julius like 40 minutes. Because who's covering? Like he's not going to play that much, but you got to kind of bring him along slowly. You can't do too much with Julius,
too soon, Yeah.
So I don't know. I
don't know. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting. So right now, backup power forward, perimeter defense. Obviously getting used to those rotations, some leadership, some guys stepping up, providing that leadership or, maybe some pressing issues.
Half court offense.
And defense.
Well, yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of stuff for
Yeah.
a team that we're saying, yeah, they should be top 6
Right.
and make it, make it to the second round again.
I mean, if there's any consolation, I do think that the preseason is the preseason. You know, like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I think the Knicks have moved on from the preseason. They're gonna start playing regular. Tom Thibodeau knows how to get his team to play regular season basketball.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think they're gonna be okay.
Right. Julian Blum said the backup power forward is Jacob Toppin at 6'9".
I mean, maybe.
Maybe
I mean, maybe because we went from Jacob Toppin being in limbo. We didn't know what he was. He wasn't on anything.
Very
so now
true.
maybe him being out there and Tip seeing him, he took a liking to him and said, hey, this kid's got something.
Yeah.
So maybe.
He mentioned his defense. In comparison to Obi, he made it a point to mention, he's ahead of the game defensively. He's got a lot to make up offensively, but
wouldn't that be funny?
Right.
Wouldn't that
Obi,
be funny?
let me tell you, I know you had a problem being the backup. Your brother's fine doing it.
He's fine doing 12 to 13 minutes. Then he comes out and plays some defense. Jacob calls him up, hey, Obi, I got you 12 to 13.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
wow.
That's funny. What do you think are the keys to this season? Chef, I start with you. What do you think are the keys of the season for the Knicks to have a successful season?
Well, for one, I for sure, number one for me is defense. I think we definitely need to, get behind that arc, guarding the 3-point line. Is something the Knicks has suffered with for many years, the past few seasons. The Knicks don't seem to be a good team guarding one-on-one defense. I mean, hell, we can't even do a proper zone defense either. But I think one-on-one and really guarding your man, and not really. The Knicks tend to do a lot of on defense. They'll double team, and that's what gets us in trouble.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you double teaming? Because you both are crowding in on one player, and now we got one guy open or two. And some teams are so good at moving that ball around, so each of the 5 players on the offense could get the ball, and now they score. And I'm like, we could have prevented that. It's even sometimes I'll see, down low in the paint, and a player throw a simple, little swoop pass, and Mitch is too slow not to be able to prevent that from happening, So I think for sure defense is one of the main things that we definitely need to be stronger at, because defense truly does win games. And it helps with you, when you're not scoring and the basket's not going in. But if those defensive efforts come through, you can win those games. I think the continuity, going back to that, I think it's needed. I think gelling together, the Knicks really being able to, kind of like how we saw last season where Quickley and Toppin had that bond and going on. It would be nice to see that maybe if Grimes could get that with, I don't know, him and Quickley, or Quickley and Mitch can have those, maybe if we can get 3 or 4 guys on the team that can have that mesh, that they can gel together, and we know, okay, he knows if I give you a lob or I give you this pass, and such and such a come up and set a screen, and we can. I think the continuity is missing there, and that's something else that's important. And then just, the Knicks not hesitating. I know in the preseason against Miami, we struggled shooting really badly. We couldn't knock down the basket, but I think if the Knicks continue to shoot with confidence, and guys don't shy away from that, I think that we can, be a good team on a consistent basis. And I think just playing consistently every night out, coming in and saying, okay, we're going to get better. We're going to do what we need to do to win games. So for sure, for me, it's the defense, the continuity, and just making smarter decisions on the offense when it comes to the shooting.
Right. Yeah. The shot, shooting. I think shooting is a huge key for the Knicks this year. Last season, the 3-point shooting wasn't great.
Yeah.
Field goal percentage was okay, I guess, but that 3-point shooting was, and then of course it reared its head during the playoffs. You know what I mean? They gotta have some guys that can confidently knock down that 3-point shot, consistently knock it down. Julius Randle, hopefully he can I don't expect him to shoot 42% like he did in that MVP year, but if he can shoot 36%, that'd be good. If RJ can get up to 35 to 36%, that'd be good.
Right.
I'm expecting that Quentin Grimes is going to be anywhere between 38 and 40%. Jalen Brunson probably the same. But that's going to be such a key, because if not, every team is going to do like Miami did and clog the paint, dare us to shoot threes, and when we're not knocking down a three, we can't penetrate. We're stuck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that'll make a rough season.
Yeah.
That'll make a rough season for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real rough season.
And what happens if people already are hit to us and our game and what we like to do out there and how we do the, benefit from offensive rebounding and getting these second chance opportunities? It's a blueprint.
Yeah.
People understand they're going to try to prevent the Knicks from getting these boards.
Yeah.
And what happens when the Knicks, who are a poor shooting team, don't get these second chance opportunities?
Right.
That's how you get blown out. That's how you can't stay close to a team if you can't get these opportunities. That's a big issue.
Yeah.
I think we can still kind of do what we need to do out there, because I just think there's so many good rebounders on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But teams are going to be investing in trying to stop that.
Yeah.
Because I forgot who was talking about it. Maybe it was on the JJ Redick podcast, but somebody was talking about like they see what the Knicks are doing.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think ball handling is going to be a big key to the season.
Yeah.
Right. Ball handling.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about it earlier. The Knicks they really need to have guys that can help handle the ball. You got Brunson. I think Quickley, can handle the basketball. We've seen in the Miami series when he was out, it was just Brunson.
Yeah.
Right. That can handle the ball. So, you got Brunson Quickley. Hopefully Dante DiVincenzo can step up. I don't know who else steps up after that. I mean, Julius Randle can advance the ball up the floor, but he's not a ball handler like that. And when if teams start to press us the way Miami did, that could be a problem. Like the playoffs will show your weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you come back in the regular season and teams use those strategies against you.
Right.
Right. And expose your weaknesses. We've seen it when the Knicks made the playoffs a few years ago, when they were the 4th seed. Right. And, Atlanta, played like this little quasi zone thing, and Julius Randle wasn't sure what to do, and came back the next year and everybody was doing it.
Yep.
Right. And, he struggled and the team struggled, So I think a lot of teams are going to look at, well, what did Miami do? And try to implement those things this year. And so ball handling is going to be a key. Shooting is going to be a big key for the Knicks. And both of them, I don't think the preseason showed us anything.
No. I also think just not settling for the three. The Knicks tend to settle for the 3-point shot a lot. And I think if they're not going down, the Knicks need to be a smarter team and say, okay, we're not making it, and that's where that leadership comes in place.
Right.
If it's not coming from the coaching end, to be like, we need to attack the basket and drive.
Right.
And be able to create our own and get teams in foul trouble. Other teams are great at doing that to the Knicks, but the Knicks don't seem to capitalize on that and say, okay, well, we're going to get this team in foul trouble.
Right.
So I would like to see the Knicks attack the basket when those shots are not going down, those 3-point shots or those perimeter shots are not going down. And if Mitch is working so hard to tip it back out, stop settling for another 3 and hoping and praying it's going to go down. Go into the basket and attack. Why are you settling? And sometimes we get 3, 4, 5 chances and you still shooting the 3 from it. Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, come on, let's be smarter.
I don't know how many times last season that happened, and I'm like, why do we keep shooting the 3?
Yeah.
And the lane would be open.
Yeah.
Like they'd get the ball out there, no one in front of them, and they go ahead and shoot the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That shot selection is, that's big.
I mean, it kind of goes back to the Tom Thibodeau thing. Like, I'm sure he's giving guys the green light, but within reason, like at some point you got to say, okay, this ain't working for us. We have to kind of cut it off now and get back into this. How do we stay close in this game? And that's part of the reason why I'm so glad we got Jalen Brunson, because he does make some decisions out there to help us with that. Because if not, these guys are like, they just, okay, Tip said shoot the three. I'm going to keep shooting the three.
Right.
Like, you can't keep doing that. I know you're trying to compete and stay involved in what everybody else is doing. And if another team is like bombing you away and your perimeter defense is poor, sometimes you're in a situation where if they don't shoot these threes, they're not going to keep up.
Right.
But all you can do is really focus in on that defense and get them back to where you need them to be in order to get them to play your game. I feel like that's what we're doing. We're playing everybody else's game.
Yeah, and not Knicks basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think also the second unit is going to be a big key for the Knicks.
Yeah.
If Evan Fournier is playing at least at the beginning of the season, that's like bringing someone new into that second unit, right? Because he either played with the starters or wasn't playing at all, was out the rotation. And then you got Dante DiVincenzo. So, if both of those guys if Evan Fournier is in that lineup, now you got two new guys in that in that second unit that you got to figure out.
That's important. And you listen, we talk about it all the time. It's the writing's on the wall. We're not a good perimeter shooting team. We know that, right?
Yeah.
But Quentin Grimes, 38% from three.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Quickley, he's shot better in the past, but 37% last year from three.
Right.
Evan Fournier, he's around 40% from three, or 41. He when he goes, he goes.
Yeah.
Dante can be up and down, but he's somewhere between 35 and 38. You just don't know, I think that's enough for us to mess around with. We can do some things with that. And then whatever you get, even Julius was better than I thought. He shot 34%, which is not the greatest. Okay. But for Julius, and Julius was on pace to break Evan Fournier's attempted threes record before he got hurt.
Right.
So that's a lot of threes for your big man who's not a great shooter. To be shooting 34%, not as bad as I thought.
Right.
RJ might be the one caveat that, like, sometimes you got to put in your back pocket. You know what I mean? But we can do some things if Tibbs is creative with it.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think that creativity is big, right? Being able to use the guys that he has,
right?
Figure out different ways to open up that offense. Because there's some guys who can slice to the basket. Dante DiVincenzo, really good at going back door. He can cut to the basket. I think Quentin Grimes can cut to the basket, be a guy that goes back door. You got someone in Jalen Brunson who I think can find those guys.
Yeah.
Hartenstein can find those guys when he's at the top of the key.
Yeah.
Cut to the basket. He's good at that. Gotta open it up. Gotta open up the playbook if he has it. If he has the playbook, but you gotta open up the playbook and start to utilize those guys' skill sets.
Yeah.
Because Dante DiVincenzo is very versatile.
Yeah.
There's a lot to his skill set. He can play off the pick and roll, be the ball handler in the pick and roll. And I'm not saying he's like a superstar at it, but he can be productive there. He can cut, like we just mentioned. He can catch and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He can go off the dribble sometimes. So if you got to figure out how to utilize all of those skill sets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And who knows? Maybe we got one more person we weren't even thinking about. Actually, Jacob Toppin might be in this mix.
Right.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll
Maybe.
see.
I don't know. We'll see. A lot of keys. It's going to be a lot of keys. A lot of keys to the season. Any early predictions about the Knicks and where they fit in the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division?
Well, I'll tell you, I predict pain. No, I think that I'm not gonna go off of what I said initially. I still am gonna say the Knicks have an advantage over some teams out there that made some personnel changes. So I still think, even with this really tough tough schedule, I still think the Knicks can get out the gate strong.
Okay.
The first couple games may be a little tough, and the person behind me agrees. May be a little tough, but who knows? Anything can happen. The Knicks can come out, and I had the Knicks beating Boston because I just feel like, okay, the Knicks got the continuity. They come out. Boston's still getting it together, got new faces. Maybe we could steal one.
Yeah.
The preseason kind of soured me a little bit. I'm thinking Boston might be ready to take us out in that first game.
Right.
But if the Knicks win the first game, that'll show me a lot. I'll look at that and I'll say, you know what? I was worried about nothing.
Right.
It's exactly what I thought.
Right.
And I think the Knicks can finish like first month of the season. They could be fighting for third or fourth spot, in the Eastern Conference. I think they can be there. And then, go from there. It's not going to be easy because it's a very tough schedule. But I think they can be all right.
Yeah. It's a tough schedule at the beginning of the season, but I think when it's all said and done, the Knicks will be battling for that third and fourth spot in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a battle between the Knicks, Philadelphia, Cleveland,
Boston.
Well, I think they're going to be top two.
Oh,
But for three on down, the Knicks,
Philadelphia,
Cleveland.
I mean, to me, that's really
Miami.
Okay, maybe, but I'm weird about Miami.
Yeah.
I know people gonna look at me like
season.
I'm crazy. I think Miami's not making the playoffs.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I don't know what Miami's done. I don't know who they got over there. Some people have told me don't sleep because Miami figures out a way to
they
get
do.
these guys playing that you never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Miami will be right there. I mean, they traded Oladipo. They got rid of Strus. They got rid of Vincent. So if they're that comfortable to let these guys go, maybe they got exactly what they need, and they got Tyler Hero back. So maybe I'm bugging.
Chicago.
I know. I think Chicago's might be on the fringe of blowing it up. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Chicago's that team that we know the talent is there, but it's what are they gonna do?
What are they gonna?
Yeah, like how are they gonna? They're gonna push forth through with the talent,
Right.
And it's almost like Philadelphia. Like we know they're that team that can make the playoffs every season, but they always fall short. You know what I mean? So whereas I think the Knicks are in a different position where we weren't making the playoffs, and I think with the past 2 seasons seeing the shift in the Knicks, so they're one of those teams that's like, okay, well, let's see you get better for the next season where you can go. And I think as fans, we're looking forward to like, okay, well, what changes are the Knicks going to make this season that are going to put them in a better position than they were last year?
Right.
So I don't know. I think Chicago, they are a good team, but is that going to show throughout the regular season? And then if they do make the playoffs, how far are you guys going to go in the playoffs? So I think there's some questions there with Chicago for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the Atlantic Division, I think the Knicks are definitely going to be third. Wait a minute. Second or third. Not just third.
Oh, in the Atlantic.
In the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
Second or third. Boston, I think, is going to be number one. Then between Philadelphia and the Knicks. Eastern Conference. Third or fourth, I guess. Third or fourth.
I'm not gonna count out Cleveland. Cleveland, I in my mind, I think the Knicks are better than Cleveland, but I gotta be realistic too. Cleveland is a good looking squad.
Yeah, they're a good looking team. But the Knicks are getting all these. They brought all these Cleveland guys in so they can get some intel, right? So hopefully it worked.
Yeah.
Hopefully it worked. Any playoff predictions? Or you want to wait? We trying to wait.
I don't know. I think we all kind of like shell shocked with what we saw in the preseason. I'm like, let me see these Knicks are the real thing. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Same.
All right. Well, I don't know. Anything else you want to add, Steph? Anything that you wanted to add before we got out? Go Knicks. You said go Knicks.
Yeah. Go Knicks.
Yeah, a great content creation year for all of us. Facts. No doubt about that.
And to the two Knick chicks.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I said it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
the two Knicks.
So that'll be dope. A pleasure. I'll definitely be tuned in.
Without a doubt.
And listen, I don't really have much. It's always a pleasure for me to. I may not be able to come out a lot these days, but you guys know why. But I'm happy to be here tonight and chopping it up with you guys, and showing my Knick fandom as always.
Yeah,
and listen, if you haven't checked it out, please do check out the NBA wrap-up on Nothing But Knicks on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. And specifically this Thursday, I hope you check it out. We got Roger Mooking on the show. And you guys might be like, who the hell is Roger Mooking? Roger Mooking is, if you've ever seen the show Man Fire Food on the Food Network and the Cooking Channel, whatever, it used to come on right after Man versus Food. Anyway, he would go to exotic places, getting food cooked on plantain leaves and all these different things. He's been doing the Cooking Channel stuff forever. He's got his own restaurant in Toronto at the airport. Really cool dude, but he's been rapping forever. He's won the Juno Award in Canada for Best Hip Hop Artist. And so it's really cool to have him on the show. So definitely check out this Thursday at 8:30.
Nice.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And we'll be back here next Wednesday.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, doing a home opener watch along. So we want everybody to come out and come out, join us, enjoy the game, and do some podcasting with us. And anything you want to add, Chef, before we go?
No, again, thank you for having me. I'm a huge fan of the MBK family and all the platforms and content creators under that platform. I think it's nothing but a great community. It's very positive. I love the energy. So I'm here for the long run. I'm part of the replay gang, so I love listening to everybody's shows while I'm at work. I mean, I'm able to listen to an earpod or headphones at my job. So I love it because it keeps me going throughout my day. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can agree. So, I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to seeing you all at the next upcoming event.
Let's do it.
And don't forget, still Knicks fans. I almost forgot. My bad. I forget who I am. You know what I mean?
You guys see the coat.
Oh yeah. We got the logo.
The
we doing our thing here. We trying.
All right, we out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.